Title of this story is My Mom Was the Target of a Romance Scam But Won't Stop Talking to the Scammer. For context, my dad has had a neurological disorder that causes him to sometimes be mean to people he cares about. As the one who lives with him, my mom is the one who bears the brunt of that. Last Thanksgiving, my mom confided in me that she met someone, we'll call him Jimmy, on Facebook and had been talking to him for months. The person was allegedly the lead singer of an 80s metal band that had a one-hit wonder that gets played on New Year's Eve a lot. What a persona to assume here. She said he contacted her after she commented on one of the band's posts, and they've been talking ever since, romantically. I asked her if he's ever solicited money from her, and she said no, with the exception of the money she had to send for her superfan VIP box that he was sending her. Notice the verbiage there was sending her. Not sent, not has received, was sending her. I asked how much, and she didn't know, so we looked at her bank account, and it was over $8,000 by then. That better be a damn fancy VIP box. I explained to her that this was a scam, pulled up the FBI website and showed her warnings about such scams, and even emailed the band's management, who replied immediately and said it was a scam. My mom acted like she believed me and said she would stop talking to him. Internally, I went into panic mode, called my sister, and told her to meet me at a gas station where I told her the whole story. She confronted my mom about it too, and we both doubled down that it needed to stop then and there. We decided it was best not to tell my dad as we were unsure how he would react. But with his condition, if he was already mean to her, this would have made it so much worse. However, as the months went on, she refused to stop, no matter what we did or said, or the toll it took on her relationships with both of us, but especially with my sister. Things came to a head in August when her Facebook account had been hacked and stolen. She messaged me one day worried that her email had been hacked, so I logged in to make sure the account was secure and updated the password. When I logged in, I saw a bunch of emails from band management and Interpol. There's a ton to unpack there, so for the sake of brevity, here's the short version. Apparently, after my sister and I got on her case, she started asking Jimmy questions and was eventually fed a fabricated story about how his phone had been stolen at a show and the person she sent all the money to was an imposter who was defrauding her. But now she was talking to the good Jimmy, who got his band management involved, and they put her in touch with Interpol. The emails from them basically said that they were looking for the bad Jimmy, but in order to start an investigation, she needed to pay $4,500 up front. Dude, Interpol is not a skeezy private eye office down the street where you have to pay them to investigate. It's that Her emails back indicated that she intended to do it, and I realized I couldn't sit on this any longer and allow her to keep sending money. I called my cousin, who I'm close with, to vent and ask advice, and she started putting pieces together. My aunt had been worried about my mom for months because not only was she acting weird, but she was borrowing large sums of money, $500 to $1,500, from 4 of her 5 siblings, but had borrowed almost $8,000 from my aunt alone. I knew I needed to alert my family to get their help, but also to make sure they didn't send her more money. I called my brother and filled him in on everything, and then did the same with my aunt. A lot happened over the next 6 weeks, and things escalated. For one thing, we learned that the amount of money that she sent was dramatically higher than I ever imagined. Over $40,000. We tried the tough love approach, the compassion approach, everything we can think of, and nothing is working. Finally, at the end of September, we went to their house to try and help figure out a way out of this. However, I got my hands on her phone and started going through it and found much more than I was prepared for. This man was trying to convince her to divorce my father, and she was going along with it, sharing plans with him. We all got into it for hours and a lot was said. Ultimately, I confiscated her phone. She's on my plan and I pay for it. Things were particularly ugly. She tried getting her phone back from me to the point of putting her hands on me as I was trying to leave. I've never seen her like this. She was fully unhinged and not the mother I know. A couple of days later, she called my brother, sister, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and me, crying and apologizing. It felt like we had finally gotten through to her and she was going to start doing better at life. With the phone in hand, I went to the FBI to file a report. However, didn't get much help, as it's something I have to do online and must document each individual financial transaction in detail, and there are a lot of them with a lot of details. Since she didn't have a phone and they don't have a computer or anything, she started emailing him from work. However, he slipped up when replying to her and accidentally emailed both her work and personal email, which is how I got wind of it. I warned her that if they caught her emailing this guy from her work email, she'd be fired. The next month calmed down a lot. To my knowledge, she had no contact with him and no way to contact him. Then last Thursday, she called me crying, said she'd been let go from her job. She said she needed her phone back to look for a new job. I understood and agreed and planned to meet up with her over the weekend to give it back to her. However, that night, my dad took a spill while taking the trash cans down to the street and hit his head. So I ended up going there that night to take him to the ER. I looked her in the eye and told her I was reluctantly trusting her and that if she messed this up, it was going to be very bad. She promised no shenanigans, so I gave it to her. The next afternoon, I looked in her email and sure enough, she was emailing him again. Wowza. I immediately called her from work and lost my shit. I told my siblings and they have all gave her a piece of their minds as well. We've been fighting since then. Then today, I saw that she reset the password to her Bitcoin account, which is how she was sending Jimmy money. I calmly called her and asked about it, but that turned into a fight. I texted my siblings and let them know, and it again escalated. Come to find out that she was fired from her job for emailing this guy from her work email. She's still talking to him and has no intention of stopping. At this point, my siblings and I are discussing how to protect my dad, but that he now needs to be involved. Shit, he still doesn't know? Oh my God. We are talking about setting up powers of attorney, his own banking, contingencies in case of divorce, and so on. We all called her and told her that we would be letting my dad know what was going on, and she told us that she's already told him. I don't know, because, everything she's told you up to this point has been a lie, so don't believe it? We told her to put him on the phone, and she did. He tells us the story she told him, which put the dollar amount at $8K, not $40K, omitted the romance aspect of it, and had no mention of anything that would make her look bad. So she told him something. She told him that she got scammed out of $8,000 and that was it. And he believes her. He told us, "She's my wife of 46 years. All of you can get," and hung up on us. I don't know what to do. Holy shit. So yeah, this was a ride. This was a journey. I can't imagine like my mother being stuck into this situation and not being willing to do anything about it to get herself out. Joining me to talk about this story is Candy Thunder.
I think you guys might get mad at me, but I actually feel bad for the mom. And it's because of the first line where she said that her dad is really mean, like they don't know what's going on. And I think this woman was so lonely and in need of like love and affection that she literally paid $40,000 to some spammer on the internet because it made her feel good. It made her feel like somebody cared. And it's so messed up. Like, it's messed up that she did this, but she was freaking lonely. Like, yeah, and loneliness can drive a person insane. Like, to not feel like that connection to anyone. And I don't think she had that connection. So if this was my mom, like, I would be pissed at what she did. I would be pissed that she lied to my dad, but I would also want to fix the freaking problem because she was in so deep. She had to have had some kind of like, I don't know, like I just feel bad for her. I legitimately feel bad for this mom.
There's lonely, but she got addicted.
Oh, for sure. Like that affection, like fed that missing part of her. And so she went in so freaking deep. And at this point, without like taking away her email and taking away her, however she was contacting this guy, unless you pull that from your mom, like she's going to keep going back. It's like an addiction. It's like a drug.
She's an addict, yeah.
Yeah. And she keeps getting that fix.
Right.
And so it's like, you need to delete everything or monitor their finances. I do believe what they said about doing with the dad and like making sure that he has the money he needs, because it could be that the dad has had like dementia or something.
Yeah,
but
I guess
like something could be starting with the dad, and they need to be able to make sure that the money is there for him. I'm sure it's his money too.
Yeah. Replace like her talking to this guy with or anything else.
Right.
She's lied. She's borrowed money. She's stolen money. She's alienated herself from her family. If you replaced that with like any kind of actual substance, she'd be checked into a facility by now.
Sure.
And she got herself fired from her job because of this. So this is an addiction, and it's just like any other, and there has to be drastic action taken to do something about it.
Screw the freaking people who think scamming. You're disgusting, despicable humans.
Right.
Like to do that. It's like the same people that are stealing content.
Just taking advantage of people.
You're just taking things from others. And I can't imagine doing that to somebody else and being like, yeah, this is how I'm going to live. Like, yeah. I'm going to use this on somebody else's dime. Yeah. Yeah. Blah.